Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our bi-monthly webinars at the time of the full and new moon. Today, as you know, we're preparing for the new moon of Aquarius, which will be happening tomorrow morning, early in the morning here in the United States. But this period leading up to the new moon is always a very interesting period. It's a very creative time. It's always been recognized by astrologers when the moon is just in this last sliver. Um, it's said to be a time of death in a personality sense, a time of withdrawing, and a very creative time because the outer world is often presenting challenges to us. And so we're forced back onto ourselves. And so always I feel that this period right before the new moon is a dark period, but dark in the sense of a very creative period, as I said. So we're always fortunate to have the opportunity to work together, to support each other, and to support all other individuals who are working together with us throughout the world. As you may know, in the writings of Alice Bailey, we're told that it's always more difficult to meditate during the period when the moon is waning. That means from the period of the full moon to just now, we're entering the end of this 2-week cycle. And then once we pass the new moon and the energies of light are waxing, this symbolic phenomenon is a symbol of the fact that the meditative process becomes easier for us and we work with renewed enthusiasm. Again, just to remind us that these webinars and all of the groups throughout the world that are working at these monthly interludes are really geared towards bringing about an alignment between the three planetary centers, the three primary planetary centers, the throat center, which is humanity, the heart center, which is the spiritual hierarchy, and the planetary head center, known as Shambhala, or the bright center lying far ahead, as the Tibetan calls it. So we work in our efforts to form a planetary bridge between humanity and hierarchy. We help to facilitate the interrelationship between these three planetary centers. And then there is even a higher center, which works in conjunction with our planetary center, which the Tibetan tells us is formed between our planet Earth and our soul sister, the planet Venus, and the central spiritual sun, which is a point that is achieved through an alignment, a meditative alignment by those great lives who work to overshadow our planetary life. These are alignments that we can link up with, but in reality, we really can't know much about what this central spiritual sun is. It's said to be the monadic aspect, whereas the heart of the sun corresponds to the soul aspect, and the physical sun corresponds to the personality. That's one of the ways in which we can attempt to understand these things. Last webinar, we talked about, in relationship to Aquarius, the great star in the Pleiades named Alcyone, as being an important emanating point for the constellation Aquarius. but they're in the case of certain constellations, particularly one which is of such magnitude for our planet at this time as our sun enters into the sign of Aquarius. We know that there are other stars related to this constellation, and another one that the Tibetan brings in as a major influencing factor at this time is Polaris, or the pole star. He also relates this star to constellation Leo, but that's not surprising considering that these two signs are polar opposites. So anything that influences one, it makes sense that it would also be influencing the other. So Polaris, in a treatise on cosmic fire, in a very interesting section wherein the Tibetan is talking about the paths, these seven paths that the masters of the wisdom choose at a certain point in their evolutionary development, one of which is called the fifth path, or the ray path. And it's a very interesting few pages that he gives us there related to this path. And he says that this path is one that a large number of the masters on our planet do choose to follow. And those who choose to follow it are very sensitive to vibration. And this path is compared so that we could somewhat understand it to a compass. That compass always faces north. And so too do the masters who find themselves traversing this path. They are taught to focus on this pole star. And the Tibetan says it isn't indeed the pole star itself, it acts as a blind. In esoteric astrology, we're used to this idea of veils, planets veiling other planets. Well, in this case, he says this pole star, this North Star, actually veils an entire constellation. And this constellation is said to be exceedingly potent, and it is not found in physical matter, but in etheric matter. And that's why the astronomers have no idea about this. So it's the pole star, which is overshadowed by a cosmic etheric vibration, which is said to be the cosmic source of the second ray, or the synthetic ray. So it's very, very important, obviously, for our solar system, which is a second ray solar system, for our planetary logos, which is found on the second ray at the soul level. So Aquarius really brings through a full tide of second ray energy, also through its esoteric ruler, the great sacred planet Jupiter. So I'd like us now to just do a brief meditative alignment, maybe a little longer than we usually work with in these webinars. This is called, I call it the music of the spheres meditation. Aquarius is about a recognition of the interconnectedness of all life forms, and this visualization speaks to that. Let's take a moment to think outwardly in love towards one another. Sound permeates all forms. Light permeates all forms. As we silently sound the Om, visualize the energy of the soul flooding the personality, pouring through the centers, ridding the physical, etheric, astral, and mental bodies of glamour and illusion, making them radiant vehicles of light. Lift the energy to the point where alignment with the soul becomes real. Listen to the chord of the soul. Together we make up a group tune. We make music ceaselessly as we build in the light, joining our group together with all groups throughout the world. We become part of a great network of light workers. Link now with the soul of humanity, seeing this kingdom pervaded by light and sound. See and hear this rhythm of sound and this myriad of chords and notes blend with the music of the hierarchy itself. And this is a steadily enriching symphony which is playing now. Now visualize the centuries slipping away. See all these various sounds unite and resolve into one another until someday the planetary symphony which Sanat Kumara is composing will be completed, and our Earth will then make a notable contribution to the great chords of the solar system. then, as the Bible says, the sons of God, the planetary logoi, will sing together. This will be the result of right breathing, of controlled and organized rhythm, of true pure thought, and of the correct relation between all parts of the chorus. Visualize and breathe this vision into existence, distributing the energy through the group Ajna Center, the new group of world servers. As we know, Aquarius is related to the life aspect, to the waters of life. Its keynote is, "Water of life am I, poured forth for thirsty men." And it is an age very much related to the world teacher, the Christ, the Maitreya, whatever name you wish to call this great individual who came forth at the dawning of the Piscean age, but as the prophecy holds true, has told us that he will return again to inaugurate this coming Aquarian age. And he himself is said to be the distributor of the life-giving waters to the masses of humanity. And so this is a process which is underway at this time. We're in the preparatory period for the actual externalization of the hierarchy and the subsequent reappearance, we're told, in physical form of this great teacher, this avatar, this being who comes down from far away and who will himself be overshadowed by extraplanetary energies. So the alignment that will be set up during this second coming, as it's called, is truly extraordinary. It can't be fathomed by us, but perhaps on some level we can understand the magnitude of what we are preparing for, and which the world teacher himself says he cannot go back upon the decision which was made by him in June of 1945 at the Gemini full moon. So it's a powerful opportunity for us as groups, large and small, throughout the world, irregardless of our doctrines, of our particular form of spiritual truth. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we come together, and increasingly we are doing so through the use of technology, through the many conferences and groups large and small that are looking to come together, recognizing the strength in numbers. This is our opportunity. Tibetan tells us that the occasion of the Last Supper, which is noted for us in the New Testament, was a great symbol of the coming Aquarian age. The disciples met a man carrying a pitcher of water, the symbol for the Aquarian age, and that they were to meet in the upper chamber, in the higher realms of consciousness, and come together for a symbolic ritual led by the Christ, in which he distributed the wine and the bread, symbolic of this wine being symbolic of the water of life, the spirit aspect, the Aquarian dispensation, wherein groups will come together, as I said, to contact, hold, and distribute spiritual energy in the service of humanity. This is the gift held out to us by Aquarius, and which we will participate in, and which we are now laying the seeds for that future dispensation. And also the distribution of the bread, the bread being symbolic of the principle of sharing, which we're told is the most important of the preparatory steps that humanity must implement, and that which will then be given full sway in the Aquarian age, this distribution, this free distribution of the resources of the world. We have a long way to go towards implementing this Aquarian charity, but I think we're certainly taking steps in that direction, and that is the hope. This is an interesting passage from a treatise on white magic, which the Tibetan tells us is a symbolic ancient teaching which speaks of this time. It says, "When the sun progresses into the mansion of the serving man, the way of life takes the place of the way of work. Then the tree of life grows until its branches shelter all the sons of men. The building of the temple and the carrying of the stones cease. The growing trees are seen. The buildings disappear. Let the sun pass into its appointed place, and in this day and generation attend ye to the roots of growth." So this is a prophecy from the old commentary, again about this time. We know it's about this time because it starts with when the sun progresses into the mansion of the serving man. This is an astrological reference to the entering of the sun into the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the serving man. We're not there yet. We have a little over 100 years until we're fully into the Aquarian age. So this is a prophecy of a time yet to come. But he says that the way of life takes the place of the way of work. I like this. It seems to speak of a vast sea change in the way in which all of us live our lives, moving from a focus that is now quite intense on our planet, wherein all of us, or many of us, or most of us, are quite busy with the outer forms of service. Service is not easy, as the Tibetan reminds us. Therefore, the symbol for this Aquarian age is, as I said, the man carrying the pot of water on the shoulders. But as this age unfolds, we're told that one of the most important laws of our solar system, the law of service, will come increasingly into play, because this law is very much related to the Piscean age and the Aquarian age. So as we blend the energies of these two ages, whose symbol is the water and the fishes, relating to both ages, we will come under a new dispensation, a new orientation in our consciousness in relationship to service, and service will become easier for us. And therefore, the symbol for this sign is the man with the pot of water balanced perfectly on the top of his head, showing the need for poise, equilibrium, an understanding of the law of magnetic work, the second law of the soul. And then this third law of service can come under play, and the way of life can take the place of the way of work. Then the tree of life grows until its branches shelter all the sons of men. So the tree of life being a symbol of the free-flowing distribution of spiritual energy, of this energy of life that will be distributed through the planetary etheric body by humanity, sheltering all the sons of men, as this sense of free-flowing energy is distributed by growing numbers of humanity who work with spiritual energy. It will be mirrored, as I said, on the outer planes with this distribution of the resources of the planet. And we won't have to work so hard. We will be able to spend our time doing other things, cultivating our connection with our soul, studying spiritual teachings, going to schools, which will be one of the dispensations that is part of this new Aquarian age, the coming forward of esoteric schools, schools for initiation, wherein we can study these things. And we're told also that creativity will flower and deepen, and the new poetry, the new art, the new music will come into being. The building of the temple and the carrying of the stones cease. The growing trees are seen, the buildings disappear. The Tibetan asks us to place the focus on spiritual work, on the building of the Antakarana bridge, and not so much on the outer forms of service, although of course they are important. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't engage in outer forms. But he says, let the sun pass into its appointed place, and in this day and generation attend ye to the roots of growth. So now we are asked to attend to the roots of growth, attend to, as I said, our spiritual work, which is decidedly related to the mental plane, wherein we can change our lives. As the Tibetan says in other places, and Alice Bailey states, we must take an axe to some of those issues in our lives which hold us back from a fuller expression of our service work, from a more spiritual expression of our service work, by cutting out those strands of thought which hold us bound to a more concrete mind expression, and liberate ourselves so that we can become serving with others for just as being distributors of this energy of life, this tree of life, whereby all forms can be interconnected and a great liberation can ensue. The Tibetan tells us that one of the qualities which we will develop, which he says will sound forth from us as we come under the influence of this law of service, is joy. And here are two citas that the Tibetan gives in relationship to joy. Joy settles as a bird within the heart, but has winged its way from the secret place within the head. I am that bird of joy. Therefore, with joy, I serve. I am a bird of song. Those in the high air can hear my song. My fellow pilgrims feel my joy. So as we become a bird of song, as we align our vehicles to a higher note, as we said, as we allow the guru of our life, in conjunction with our group brothers, to tune us to the chord that he is attempting to play through our group, our fellow pilgrims can feel our joy. And this idea was understood and lived by a great teacher, a great Sufi teacher. In fact, the person who brought Sufism to the West, the great Hazrat Inayat Khan. Many of you may be familiar with his work, his life, and his teachings. He began his spiritual path as a musician, playing the veena, a stringed instrument. But at a certain point in his life, he realized that his music was a limitation, and as all great spiritual seekers must follow the path of sacrifice, he sacrificed his music and said that his body became his instrument. He said, I played the veena until my heart turned into this very instrument. Then I offered this instrument to the divine musician, the only musician existing. Since then I have become his flute, and when he chooses, he plays his music. The people give me credit for this music, which in reality is not due to me, but to the musician who plays on his own instrument. So we're reaching a time in our planetary evolutionary development wherein increasingly, as I said, groups can come to play this spiritual music, the new groups, as we work, following in the path of those masters on the fifth path who are working to attune themselves to a higher vibration. We're told they have to set aside a response, any response to any other vibration, and just focus their full intention on one vibration. Well, we certainly are not yet able to do that, but perhaps as we work together in our groups, large and small, at these interlude periods in the monthly cycle, we too can attune ourselves to a vibration which is much higher, more sublime than the usual one that governs us during this time of Kali Yuga. We can make the effort to rise above the astral plane. We can make the effort in conjunction with our group brothers to make, through our building of the Antakarana Bridge, through this group rainbow bridge, we can attune ourselves to the vibration of the Buddhic plane, the plane of the intuition, and bring down its beauty and its note and distribute it through the astral plane and thereby work as purifying channels. And I'll close with this quote, again from a treatise on white magic. The Tibetan says, "You ask me, what keeps a man or woman from becoming a member of such a group? I tell you with emphasis that 4 things only keep a man from affiliation. First, an uncoordinated personality. This involves necessarily an untrained mind and a feeble intellect. Second, a sense of separativeness, of distinction, of being set apart or different from one's fellow men. Third, the possession of a creed. No matter how good a formula of beliefs it may be, it inevitably produces exclusiveness. It bars some out. Fourth, pride and ambition. You ask me, how shall one qualify? The rules are simple and are 3 in number. First, learn to practice harmlessness. Then, desire nothing for the separated self. And thirdly, look for the sign of divinity in all. 3 simple rules, but very hard to accomplish. So again, what can I relinquish in order that I may help more adequately? So with those thoughts, I wanted us to work with a meditation which is called Evoking the Soul of the Nation. And we use this sometimes here in the United States. But as Maria Christina reminded us last time, we're all planetary citizens, and we all have hopes and concerns that the United States can strive towards its higher spiritual possibilities. It is, as I said, governed at the soul level by the sign of Aquarius and the second ray. So let's work together to aid this nation to free itself from its planetary dweller and to align itself with the angel on the threshold. So let's link up in consciousness with the worldwide group of individuals who are working for planetary change and transformation. We take our stand at the heart center of this group and say with heartfelt intent, the sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve, and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Center the consciousness within the head and attain an inner point of quiescence and poise. Through a process of spiritual inbreathing, raise the consciousness to the center at the top of the head and lift the energies to the mind, the reflector of the soul's light. and extend the alignment to the group soul. And link with all other groups working for goodwill and right human relations. And link with the soul of the nation and the great Davic life that overshadows the United States. Link with the spiritual hierarchy and the world teacher at the heart of hierarchy as we stand in spiritual being with the mind poised, quiescent, and receptive to impression. Refocus upon the mental plane and reflect on the keynote of the United States and of New York. I light the way. And visualize the energy of the hierarchy overshadowing the states, engendering an enlightened public opinion. Visualize a triangle between the United Kingdom, the United States, and Russia. And through this triangle, visualize the perpetual flow of essential love, flowing from the heart of hierarchy, the world teacher, through the soul of all the nations of the world. into the hearts of all people everywhere, and into all kingdoms of nature. Visualize the healing of the nations and the earth as a center of radiant light. Recenter the consciousness within the periphery of the great ashram. Sounding the affirmation of love. In the center of all love, I stand. From that center, I, the soul, will outward move. From that center, I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Continue holding the lighted visualization of the earth and the divine circulatory flow of energy extending from the cosmic etheric constellation, the pole star, Aquarius, Uranus, Jupiter, Shambhala, hierarchy, the world teacher, to the new group of world servers, and to all men and women of goodwill. See light penetrating the darkness and dissipating the materialism, selfishness, and separateness of our world. See the light working out through your family, your community, our nation, the world of nations, and the one humanity. Visualize the triangle of the head center, the heart center, and the ajna center. Focusing in the ajna, and we release the energy through the Ajna center into the planetary etheric vehicle, a network of triangles. Distributing the energy through the 5 planetary centers: London, Darjeeling, New York, Geneva, Tokyo, forming the 5-pointed star. We sound the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. If anyone has any thoughts they would like to share with the group, you can do that through the chat mechanism or by raising your hand. Well, I don't see any hands. So thank you very much for your participation. And I look forward to working together again. Thank you.